Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we find ourselves sat inside one of the greatest, one of the most awesome cars that have ever graced the track within GT7. One of the cars that frightens me to death and go tremendous speeds, absolutely hoon round corners, and just brings memories back of that license test at Le Mans where we cut through those fast finish section. But today we're heading off to Le Mans. No, we're not. Today we're heading off to Spa. Christ alive. It keeps trying to go to Le Mans. It really does. So it's the World Touring Car 800 at Spa, Circuit de Francorchamps. We are grinding again. We need 800 pp. This car, the R92 CP, the Nissan, has 799.75 on racing hard tyres. Settings are... It's got 987 brake horsepower. Probably the fastest car we've got. It weighs 900 kilo, and on this occasion, we have not added weight. This car is at full power. So we have fully adjustable suspension, which is at default. Fully customizable rear diff, which is set to the Magic 555. Of course, you'll be used to that now. Rear downforce at 1600, front at 600. Fully customizable ECU set to 100. No adjustment on the restrictor at 100. Customizable manual gearbox at 370. Medium RPM turbo. Everything else as standard, nothing else added. We've got the brake controller if we need it. Let's get to the track. So today we arrive at the track, and this is brought to you with notification of in stock at GT Amiga their new launch of a product range called Preza. They are gloves. They come available in 4 sizes. I've brought the XL, and they are absolutely snug fit. They fit my hands very nice and tightly. We've used them for a couple of races now, and they're just starting to fit my hands beautifully. They have additional grip mounted to the front. You can see that there on the camera. Very grippy gloves. They've got additional padding on the inner palm and the inner wrist of the inner side of the thumb to allow or to restrict the amount of calluses you'll get from excessive wear. And I think they're going to make a great addition to my driving experience. You can get them yourself from GT Amiga using my discount code WIDDOW, that's WIDDOW. If you use that discount code, you'll get a discount on checkout, and you'll have a stunning pair of gloves. Go check them out. So, Mr. Rubbelart likes to get involved. Settings today will be Assist, Traction Control 1, Weak ABS, Counter Steer Assistance on Strong because we're grinding. Controller settings, Controller Steering Sensitivity 5, Force Feedback Max Torque 7, Force Feedback Sensitivity 7. We're on a G29 but soon to change to a Fanatec. We are also on our wooden rig, but that's soon to be consigned to the back of the room because we have a brand new Prime from GT Amiga, a Prime rig, and we will be setting that very shortly. You're going to see those videos as they come to the channel. We're going to do a product review, we're going to do a build review, and we'll go from there. However, let's get stuck in. We're grinding, so we're building credits. This race should take us in excess of 10 million credits. Let's get stuck in. So we're aiming for as many laps as we can possibly get. This car is going to be exceptionally quick. 1,000 brake horsepower. Everything it can throw at it. No additional weight. Hard tyres. It's going to wheel spin for fun. We might have to induce greater traction control later on in the race. But it's also going to brake like a train. We're already up to 16th place. It might be very difficult to drive in the rain. Now we could have gone for additional gearboxes, the racing gearbox. We could have added additional weight to cope with it. We could have put medium tyres on to deal with the additional power, but we would have had to have curtailed the power, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give this car the chance to run its full power and as much downforce as we could muster. So we got the brake balance all the way to the front to try and assist that process as we cut our way into 12th place, just ahead of Mr. Grady. Mr. Ordonez just managed to take the line before we got there. Here we go, 140 mile an hour as we come off that corner. This car will clear 200 mile an hour easy, I would suggest, as we go around the outside and then the inside of Gallo into 6th place. Braking as we go across the white line. Almost into 5th place as we get a shove from Mr. Fraga, but we'll lean on him. If he wants to stay out there, we'll let him. So 13 laps of fuel remaining. That out lap, a 158. It's the fastest outlet of any car we've used here. 100 mile an hour in 2nd gear as we change to 3rd. We come flying down the hill. We'll change to 5th, but we'll have to brake and change back down to 4th. Back on the gas as we go up the hill. As we go past Cookabun in 3rd place, past Miazano in 2nd. We're chasing down Beauvoir, 200 mile an hour as we don't have a 6th gear, braking on the 100. Now all these cars are particularly set up in such a way as to be able to make the grind relatively easy. You just have to be controlled. Sometimes I forget that. On the left hand side we have a heavy dark rain cloud. I'm gonna change to the rain radar. Look at that cloud gathering there on the left hand side of the screen, now to the right. And I'm sort of flapping as that rain cloud gathers there. We don't normally get rain cloud this early in the race. Let's see if that's just an ominous threat and it's going to move on. There's nothing on the radar indicating that the rain is going to come. But we've got plenty of fuel. We don't have to worry about it for now. Let's hope that's just a precursor to not a lot. So we should be able to take the lead of the race now. We're sort of 40 miles an hour faster than the GR3 cars because this car is in a class of its own. We'll probably pick up a penalty there. We did, just half a second. We can see how slippery this car will be. A 210 with no struggles. It gave us the fastest lap of the race, even though we had a shortcut in there, which is unusual, as Mr. Tom would say. 5th gear, going to break down to 4th, get up Eau Rouge, cut the corner, don't attract another penalty and just keep ploughing on. Let's see how far above 200 mile an hour we can get. Will it get to 210? It does, 212. As we go straight on, and we will add some more time to that penalty ticket. Why not? We try to yeah, an extra second. We tried to push that top speed on the straight, didn't we? Now I see there's plenty of people watching the videos, which really pleases me. There's also plenty of comments coming back and people picking up on some of the things I say and the mistakes I make, and I'm glad to see people are taking them in good spirits. I'm enjoying these videos, they're really good. It's an exciting time. I've got new kit coming. I'm blown away by just what it feels like to have this level of kit arriving, I feel like I'm going to be moving onwards and upwards, and ultimately being able to potentially start a real progress improvement where I can start to learn new kit, and new kit that's going to help me to get faster. I hope it's not just a myth. I hope it's not just about confidence, but I've never been disappointed with what the G29 has been able to deliver me and my homemade wooden rig with my replacement BMW driver's seat. I've always been proud of what I've been able to do off my own back, and now that I'm in a position to be able to, you know, spend that bit of money, turn that into something that I really do enjoy, and then be able to get stuck in and do other things will be just tremendous. So I'm really happy to be able to go through this process and then take you with me. I've been making videos today on the kit arrival and what it means and how many boxes. There's so many boxes. It's as suggested by GT7, all fun and games, the full bells and whistles. And also the delivery driver from Parcel Force left me a message, a really sweet little message written on the delivery card that said, "Your boxes are in the garage, nice wheels, see you on a Assetto Corsa." Which, yeah, we probably will. We'll probably have a little run on a Assetto Corsa with it one day, but I've got to leave a message for him when he delivers the next lot of parcels. I'll leave a message in the garage for him, because if it's I'm sure it'll be the same guy, but it's tremendous to get that little encouragement message from the delivery man, who I've never met. I don't know who this guy is, but it's great to get that little message. So we're 15 seconds in the lead as we're just hyper concentrating on driving and chatting about something nothing to do with the race. We've gone purple. If we can get a 209, that'll be absolutely stonking. Let's see if we can banzai this corner and, you know, really go for it. We can. We made it. Brake on the white line. Lock the rear axle. Got to be careful with that. I think we've just blown that 209. Yeah, we blew the 209 diving into that final corner. It was the gear slam that did it. So you got to watch out for locking that rear axle. Point to note. So we're on to lap 5. We're 22 seconds ahead of Beauvoir, who's being chased by Fraga. Miazano in 4th, Kukuban 5th, Yamanaka 6th, Lopez in 7th, Mr. Grady in 8th. Oh, we just ran over that white line. There's probably another penalty arriving. But we're going so quickly down this straight. 215 mile an hour. So much quicker. 1.2 seconds quicker than our previous purple. This car is so fast. As the shadows start to lengthen as we get into the early evening, that black cloud is still hovering about. I get the feeling we're going to be in for a right rain cloud of 5 today. We ran a little bit wide there, but a lift of the gas just brought the nose round. Tyres look to be wearing fairly well, more at the rear than the front. We've got the brake balance all the way to the front to try and encourage some front wear. Try and limit what we got on the rear, but that also means the back end won't lock up under brakes, which is good. 1.3 seconds, so we gained. Absolutely tremendous. Let's see if we can do this again. 30 seconds in the rear, in the lead, almost. I was going to say 30 seconds to the rear for Beauvoir. We've just overrun that line. Probably a penalty for us there. Oh, disappointing. There it is. Just trying to run it too hard through there. There's a 208. That is ripping. Absolutely ripping. It's an incredibly quick car. Now we're definitely in the long shadows of the evening. The heat of the day starting to just tone down a little bit. This track, like, oh, another penalty. This track, like Monza, can be terrifically hot during the day. And then as you get in the evening, a chill starts to grow. We've got a great crowd to the left-hand side. There's always a great amount of people wearing orange at this track in support of the Dutch racers from the neighbouring country next door. Belgium itself has some remarkable drivers from history. And the circuit itself is pretty decent. It's got a lot of history, and it holds a great bit of history for me as well. When I was probably 13 or 14, going to Germany or coming back from Germany with my parents at one point, we actually drove down the start-finish straight here, or what was the old start-finish straight, because it was the main road. As we just leave the circuit for a moment, it was the main road, and I'm pleased to be able to say I drove on it when it was part of the highway. We're going to be 2 seconds down on this lap, a 2:10, and I won't be overly disappointed with putting in a 2:10 as we now go 42 seconds ahead of Mr. Boudoir. And we're certainly into the evening, and the rain cloud coming from the top left-hand corner, and it looks to be tremendous rain. You can see it there. Red sky at night, it says Shepherd's Delight, but it looks like it's going to be a wet one. What's the Shepherd found that's wet, I wonder? Let's leave that alone. So we'll see how fast that rain's coming in. See if we can get 1 or 2 laps in before we need to put some form of wet tyre on. The last race we chose to pit 1 lap early, so we'll see if we can not really make too early a call as we accelerate in excess of 200, braking just before the 100 but after the 150, which you'd expect, of course. Doesn't look like we're going to get a massive amount of time between the rain starting and the heavy stuff arriving. Fraga goes to the pits for what looks like a new set of softs. He's dropping down the list now, down to 5th. Grady goes in as well, again on soft tyres, but he's much better use of fuel at 55% compared to Fraga's 27. I think there's the potential for another lap for us as our lights come on. I would suggest we are maybe a third of a lap ahead of us. We're normally just arriving to get the headlights on at the hairpin bend just back up at the end of the long straight. So I think 1 more lap and we will be ready for tyres. Yeah, 1 more lap. We're gonna absolutely rattle round. If this is a 2:10 again, I'll be happy. There it is, a 2:10. Let's see if we can get round before we need those wets. I don't think we'll be far off catching somebody. I think we probably should have pitted. I think we might be in trouble here. See if we can throw this down. Oh, the rain is moving so quickly now. Let's see if we've blown it. We need to get to the pits before that heavy stuff starts. But the good thing is everybody else will have that problem as well. Got to keep an eye on that depth gauge on the left hand side. I'm not watching the rain, I'm just going to drive this thing. Beauvoir's gone to the pits, he needs fuel. No real rain starting. The car ahead of us is ready to be lapped. Now I normally pit too early, don't I? On this occasion, have I pitted just that fraction too late? I'm waiting to see the rain fall. Can't see any. I'm feeling nervous. The car in front is now getting the blue flags. The rain is falling. We have a wet track. We just need to get to the pits before that becomes undrivable. It's gonna start to come. Here it comes. Just need to just lift a bit. The Porsche decides to just pull in front of us. We're gonna go to the pits now. Just make sure we brake. Porsche carried on, so this is the right opportunity to get those wet tyres on. I think it's the right thing to do. We'll take all the fuel. As we enter the pits, we're 1 minute 19 ahead of Cookerman. Oh dear, this is... My hands are feeling like I've been holding onto a horse for a while. You know the reins when you got them running through your fingers? Oh my lord. Those fingers are quite stiff and tight. But the gloves have helped tremendously. I've just been holding onto the wheel to get the damn thing round the circuit. Let's go, go, go. That's all the fuel. We haven't put the traction on. We're just going to see what state the track's in when we leave. It's a deluge. It's absolutely ooning down. It's bucketing. We're almost into the wet level of track. Yes. Almost to where we think it is. Let's get that fuel map on. There we go. I think we need to apply a level of traction. It will slow us down. But we've made tremendous inroads. We took wets, but it looks like Inters is the choice. Maybe not. I don't mind running a few slower laps now whilst we just manage this water. Mr. Kawakami is drifting. Cookerman's got to the pits. We took the wets when potentially we could have took, with hindsight, Inters. We're just going to use the off track to get around that car. That looked like Inostra going the wrong way. And everybody's gone to the pits, look. It feels like that lap 208 was a long time ago. But it can't be really. That in lap was a 222 with the wet. And that's a decent lap with any other car. Portilla. We ran off the track there just to line up the overtake correctly. I don't think they're going to penalise us for that, which is nice. You wait till we just pass this line and get a 3-second penalty for an off track. So due to weather, Mr. Cookabun is second, Mr. Wilkin third, Yamanaka fourth, Lopez promoted up to fifth, Solis in sixth, Miyazano seventh, who's normally down the back of the track, and his teammate Izal is just behind him in eighth. Yeah, we're just on the cusp of needing the full wet tyres, and we've got the wet tyres on, which is tremendous. There's no tyre wear to be seen on these tyres at all, one lap in. So we did make the right call. Over 20 minutes of the race gone, 1/3 of the race, as we've got a real gaggle of cars in front of us, so we'll just measure this attack. Oh, Mr. Bishop's facing the wrong way. Mr. Yamanaka leaves the circuit and comes back on. He goes back to the racing line and doesn't get out of the way. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe it's down to me to drive around them. Maybe they shouldn't have to leave the racing line. I will drive around them if they... Oh, give me that. Oh no, I won't. I'll just keep banging them in the back door. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Yes, maybe that's what it is. Double bump on my bumper. We'll use the curb. Mr. Gallo up in 12th place. Miss McEwen now in 11th. Beauvoir in 10th. Who's that in 9th? It looks like the GTR. Of our Spanish colleague. 20 seconds down on this lap, but let's go. And it looks like the end of the rain is nigh. Depends on how we go diagonally through there. It's not going to give us his name band, is it? Ordonez, that's who it is. And who's in front of us? Are they all going to the pits, or are they all making the left turn? They're all making the left turn. Nobody goes to the pits. So we were round to lap them for the second time, or are we lapping them for the first time? I think we might have... I think this might be the first time, might it? 11 laps? Could be. Yeah, lapping them for the first time, isn't it? It's got to be. We get damage on the front again from somebody braking on the apex where you don't have to brake. Some are going to move off the racing line, some are not. Let's not lock that rear axle up. We're up to into the lapping of car 6, which was Mr. Hizal. Miyazano is stretching away from his teammate. Don't often see Fraga running with his teammate either, because there are 2 Supras in this race and 2 Imprezas. Oh, 2 WRX Subaru. Just gonna block him out to the left hand side. So we're out of the rain, we're into the drying phase of the track now, and at 34 minutes remaining, 35 minutes just under, we've come out of the rain fairly early, so there's an opportunity to get back to a set of dry tyres relatively quickly, one must think. And if we can keep to the dry line, there's a chance we can really get back to those tyres and start to make inroads into this race. But just look how much wheel spin we're getting, even with the full wets that have got nowhere. Lap times are down though as we get onto the bumpy part of the track. Somebody's about to try and come past us. It would have to be Fraga, wouldn't it? Possibly. No, I think that was Miazano, his teammate. I would have thought. Solis, Fraga, Kukabun. It's Miazano. We're chasing down Solis and Fraga now. 5 seconds slower at this point of the lap. That's because we got traction on. A visible dry line just appearing. Just at the point where the inters are now not the preferential tyre. We're on the wet, so we're getting the sort of indicators from the pits that we should now be considering slick tyres. Even on the wets though, we're going to charge off the circuit and come back onto the racing line. We'll get a flag for that, I think. We'll get a penalty. We're not. And the track is really quite wet down here. 2:09 ahead of Kukabun. But based on our lap times, he's not far ahead of us. So just while we talk about endurance racing, etc., you'll have seen yesterday that we launched a video for the Le Mans 24 Hours. We're going to be doing a Make-A-Wish charity event. So we're going to race the 24 hours, hopefully with a full field of 24-hour races. We're looking for 3-man teams to come and take part. Actually, you could do it with more than 3 men if you wanted to make the experience easier. But what I would suggest is we're going to do it on GT7, so there's no combined platform for team events. You would have to be at the same venue, 3 or more people in the same house to be able to race together, because so you could change cars. We're not in a position where we can have cars leave and join and other racers join. You have to be able to. So this sets itself up beautifully for a father and kids, or 3 kids to take place with a bit of father supervision, if that's what we want to call it. 3 friends that live relatively locally. In terms of whether you would want to invite people you don't really know into your own house, well, that's entirely up to you. I will be hosting a team from here with people I trust and people I've met through the game. They'd be more than welcome to come to my house. I've got spare rooms that they can stay in when they're going to try and get some rest. I'll cater for them whilst they're here. There'll be beer on tap if they want a bit of beer. There'll be food available. There'll be snacks, etc. And there'll be washing facilities for the time if they need to freshen up, to wake themselves up, if you see what I mean. But with that being the case, whilst the guys are racing, I intend to be commentating for the full 24 hours. Very shortly there will be a video produced, and I will give you exactly the details of what's needed to enter the race. We're looking for a team of 3, as suggested. We've got rain coming top right hand corner. The track really is drying out a little bit, but we're just keeping this managed for now. So, as I said, there will be a video produced that will walk through what each team requirement is going to be, what's kind of expected, what the rules are, what cars will be available, what we want in terms of skin production, if you're going to paint the car, where you're going to get your logos from, etc. There will be some mandatory things that are required to be on the car, like my logo, Make-A-Wish, etc. But you can free to do it as you see fit, as long as it's clean and presentable, because it will go out on the channel. I will be doing a 24-hour commentary that will cover interviews with drivers, so because of that I'm going to need a bio of each of the driver, and it won't be anything massive. It will be just who they are, what age they are, you know, where they've raced before, any practical racing experience, what equipment they're using, whether they're their house or visiting somebody else's, etc. You know, some little funny anecdotes, and I'll hopefully be able to interview people and ask the silly questions like, what makes you want to take part in an event like this? How are you getting on? How are you feeling? What is it panning out as you expected? You know, that kind of thing, and hopefully we can get a full 24 hours of interesting content. You know, whilst I've never been able to sit and commentate to a race with full TV coverage, because genuinely I've been in the racing, so at this point I intend to let somebody start the race and I'll do a Le Mans commentary, and I've never had the opportunity to do that before. Whilst I've sat here and commentated from the driver's seat about my own performance, I've never had the ability to commentate on another race, except when I've done, you know, the league race and I've done a review video. But this will be 24 hours of coverage. So with that being the case, and there's another phrase, I just use that all the time, but it is the case. So where this is going and what this is up to, oh, slippery. Right, we've got a dry line. I think it's time to go to the pits. These tyres need to come off, and we're going to put the racing hards back on. We're alright for fuel. We'll take the fuel. 26 minutes, yes. So with that, the video will also detail the event itself. When we're going to do qualifying, how we're going to do qualifying, and what that will mean. And we'll also cover the event times and what the event times will mean to you if you're international. So in the UK, we will be running at 5 PM, the race start, and the race will end 5 PM on the Sunday. If you're in America on the East Coast, it will start at midday and finish at midday. If you're in Australia, I haven't got a clue. I'll have to work that out. But it'll probably finish Monday for you in the early hours of the morning. But if you watch Le Mans, you'll know that anyway. Ooh, wow, 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 wow. That was a reaction twist, wasn't it? Wow. I thought the car performed very, very well coming out the pit lane then. Lots of other people in the pits. I think they're on inters. And they're staying on inters until the track dries out a bit more. But we're going to run this racing line because the racing line is really dry. And this is going to be like running S10 license test for a little while. We're going to have the traction control on just to make sure we've got a little bit of control. But we ran 7 laps in the wet. So anyway, back to the detail of the Le Mans race. And I suppose you're also wondering what the motivation is. Well, just for the history side of things, this is about me trying to pay back to some of the people that have helped me with the channel. I know the channel's still only small, we're 2 years in, but some people really have contributed over the last 2 years, so I've tried to help people out along the way, and I'm trying to repay as I go. So it's a kind of paying it back thing after a bit of a paying it forward. So one of our members, somebody who supported the channel with an early membership, and he's not battered an eyelid since we've done it. He spends a lot of time assisting the channel with various things like league results, moderating the league, being a mentor for me in the background, confirming my thoughts and denials, motivating me when I'm low and down. And this gentleman has a massive interest in Make-A-Wish, and when he's not helping me, he's out there raising funds for Making-A-Wish, and he's also assisting with the Make-A-Wish situation. So he goes to events with his car and he gives passenger rides to those kids that otherwise never got the opportunity, or are having those moments of a lifetime thing where he's trying to give them the opportunity to experience something before, you know, they're not able to. So this to me is a gesture to him for me to have an attempt at raising some money to support his fundraising process. And I know he wants to be involved in the event, but I'm more than happy enough to let him drive. But this is about me giving back in some sort of way to his charity, his thing that he supports, and I hope people understand that. So with that being the case, there's that phrase again, I am going to be awake for something like 30-32 hours because of the day before, and we will attempt to be part of the race team and do full commentary and stay awake for that whole event. If I have to get my head down for a couple of hours, I might just have to, but while that's the case, I'm going to have my race team there and we'll try and do something along those lines. So I hope to have on the channel a means for people to be able to donate in support of my efforts to remain awake and do this commentary, and for people to give to the channel, and everything that comes through to the channel for this event and anything I earn through the channel on YouTube in the month of June will go to the Make-A-Wish campaign through this members support process. So that will mean I will, to keep it all legit, either feed it direct to Make-A-Wish under his name, or we'll feed the cash through him in a perfectly fair and legal means to transfer the cash for him to be able to donate it in that way. And I hope people can support this charity and the effort and the process we're going through. And as we say that, morning has arrived. We are into the daylight. We're out of the night. We probably have been for a couple of laps. What time is it? 20 minutes to go. So there's like 8 hours remaining of this race. It's probably 8 AM now as we're coming hooning down here. So I haven't got a clue at all what I'm aiming to earn, aiming to raise. But whatever comes will be generously given across, and it'll be thanked to anybody that genuinely donates. Now, I have seen other things in the past from other YouTubers, so I'm going to work on some, not just for the racers, prizes for the racers, but I'm going to try and give something back to the largest single donation, or the most donations by a single entity over a certain value. So the largest single donation will get a reward, whether that is the ability to do something, or I'll seek some prizes that we can share with that person for doing so as just a thank you. They might decline it and might just say put the value to something. We'll have to see what goes on, but I know other YouTubers have offered prizes like race with events or play with events or whatever, so for a whole day or whatever, as like a reward. So we'll have to see what I can give, but there will be things like that, so to try and encourage user participation. And I will be encouraging audience participation through the event, so you know, we'll probably have we'll have the chat lines up. You'll be able to chat, you'll be able to speak to me, ask me questions, keep me awake, etc. Give me a poke in the early hours of the morning and say, wake up, you nugget. kind of thing. We've got 19 minutes left. We're into the final 20 minutes. Lap 18. We've done some slow laps, but they weren't slow, look. There were 224s in the rain. I think we can take a bit of the traction off now. Oh dear. He takes the traction off and gets an immediate warning from the curbs. See how far we can go before the next downpour comes. Yeah, so that's kind of it. 20 minutes talking about that event rather than about this car, and this car is just driving itself really. I'm steering it. Let's just have a catch up with where we are. We've just 18.5 minutes to go of the race. We're on lap 18. Mr. Solis is in second place. Miazano in third. There's been a bit of a mix-up down the normal pack, hasn't there? Hizal has just overtaken both Lopez and Miazano. That was a double move. I don't know how he's pulled that off, but that's because they're pitting. There you go. So they drop down out of the way. So Hizal's up into fourth place behind Lopez. Rubelar in fifth. Kukabun in sixth. Fraga's making his way back up the field in seventh. Miazano now in eighth in the pit, so he's likely to lose that position to whoever's coming. It won't be Kukabun, it'll probably be somebody like Beauvoir if he's anywhere near. The back end kick there as I touched the curb, didn't it? But we're back down to running 2:15s, which is tremendously quick time in these greasy, slippery conditions. The track now is pretty much dry on the racing line. It looks like Grady in front of us in the Audi. It was Miazano that came and took that place. His teammate there is up in fifth. Another 2:15, that's a decent lap. We're on to lap 19, 17 minutes to go. So every 9 minutes is 4 laps. I don't know if we're going to get another blast of rain. There's nothing on the road. Oh yes there is. Top right hand corner there's a smidgen of rain. And I don't know whether that's coming or going away. It looks like that's a threat. And it looks like it's just hanging there. Top right hand corner. So back to the charity event. It's going to be GR1s and GR3s. You're free to choose whichever class you want to go in. I'd like to keep it roughly similar, so there are 8 GR1 cars available in the game. And I think it would probably nice to have 8 GR1s and 7 GR3s maybe. But it's up to the racers what they want to race in. I know I'm going to be racing one of my teams will be a GT1. If I can get a second team at the house of 3 people, that'll be 6 people here including myself. We might be able to run a GR3 team as well. And that will just mean we've got people in the room chatting away, keeping people awake, and there'll be an opportunity for people to go and sleep, stay awake or whatever, and do the thing. I might have to be running shifts while doing commentary of making sure people are up and awake. But ideally you should be in a phase where people can get a 4-hour sleep session. 4 hours of sleep in one stint when you're doing this kind of thing would be tremendous. But it just depends on what your driving stints are, whether you're going to run 1 hour or 2 hours, or whether you can go and get your head down and, you know, go to sleep, stay awake, whatever it is. But that'll be down to the teams to individually manage what they're going to do. That's why you've got to be in the same venue, not just because of the fact that there is no team function on GT. if you're going to go home to sleep, you're going to be more than a couple of hours, aren't you? Especially if you don't live very close, so. But I would encourage it. If you've got the situation where you've got 4 or 5 friends and they're all going to turn up and do a stint, I'll let that happen. There's no drama in the world. If we're just racing a team, that's why we're not really offering prizes for the race. It's all about being involved and having part of that thing about wanting to win or wanting to take part in the race and be part of that event and spectacle. I have got trophies, so if people want trophies, we can do trophies. I've got some 3D printed ones that I've been trying to give away for a long time. People don't seem to want them, but they're good trophies. They were part of my 3D printing experiment when I got my 3D printer, so. And they're made by Widdowmaker. In years time they could be worth an absolute fortune. I'd rather put the money into giving it to Make-A-Wish than putting money on prizes that are just token gestures. You know, if we're going to get some prizes, there'll be usable things from a sponsor or, oh my lord, that was a bit of a wet track there, wasn't it? We strayed wide. We got a lot of damage from that. I honestly don't know where we are in terms of being ahead or behind people. That looked like Lopez, did it? Ordonez, maybe. I got to get off that wet stuff. I'm slightly dragging to the left with that front side wheel damage. 12 minutes remaining. It doesn't look like we're going to get any more wet, but that's what happens when you just lose a bit of focus and rattle the car. It was entirely my incident. Lap 21 with 12 minutes remaining. Miyazano moves out the way. That's Kawakami. He's just zigzagging down the straight. I think he was at 6 and 2s about whether to take the race in line or just to give up the line for me to come through. Getting blue flags. That last time was a 2:25 with that incident, but the previous time before that we were down in the 2:12s with traction control on, so happy days, decent lap times. I know I'm hitting quite a few videos with the information about the race, but if you are interested, this is the only medium I've really got to communicate that with and talk to people. And I know in the future people will be watching these videos and be dead interested to take part. Would it be possible, here's the thing, with more interest to run 2 servers? I do have the ability to do that with a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 5, but I really want to be able to run a connection within. Could we do, well, let's see where we go on applications from teams. If we get more than 14, 15 applications, then there's a possibility we could, but I'm not sure we will. But I'll be open and honest and say, let's be positive about it and think, what could we do? Well, there are people that could bring their PlayStation to my house. We could set up a server just as a dedicated server. Would we get any video coverage from that server? Interesting question. Don't honestly know. Don't honestly know. But I'm going to try and set it up so that I can stream dual simultaneously from 2 PlayStations using a HDMI splitter, port it into my version of OBS and see if we can run 2 devices. It's going to be the summer as well and it's going to be warm, so we're going to need some cooling devices, aren't we? We'll have to see how it goes. I'm at the point now after this race I've only needed 4 million to be able to buy that car I need. I only need to do this race 3 more times. But I'm not going to be able to do that until Saturday, and Saturday is going to be a very busy day for me. It's looking like I'm going to have to sell a car, which will break me, but it'll mean I have bought the car I've been missing. And then we're on to buying just the rest of the cars then. The VGTs. Fraga goes to the pits. We've got less than 9 minutes remaining. Almost 8 minute 30. There's no rain on the horizon. It looks like we're going all the way to the finish. We've got half a tank of fuel. The track is now pretty much drying in most places, but it's very grey morning. Very grey. Fraga's just losing some places now. We go on to lap 23. We're still putting in 212s, which is decent. It says 6 more laps, which we just punted him out of the way, but he was blocking the apex, wasn't he? Just a little bit. We've got nothing on the rain radar. It looks like we're going to be rain free till the end of the race. So a 2-stop it is. Mr. Portilla just gives us a tap. Solis is up in 2nd place. That's a tremendous position for Solis in the 4C. Let's see if we can catch him up. Run with him for a little while. Around Mr. Lopez in 4th, just his Alan Solis to catch. And I'm hoping they're just the cars in front of me. That looks like Beauvoir. No, it's his Al. And Beauvoir. Beauvoir is probably a lap down then. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Yeah, that's definitely Beauvoir and his Al. Let's get charged down this hill. They're battling side by side. It's a great looking battle as we come hooning up the back of them. We get past Izanostra in 17th. He sees us coming. We're now chasing down Solis. Where is Solis? Is that him at the end of the straight that's just going through the chicane? The sun's out. We're now into the full drying phase. Very wet curbs. We'll probably get told off for that cut. But it'd be great to see Solis finish in 2nd place. He's never usually at this position. You know, it's something I really enjoy doing about computer games, is to actually set up the AI to race. And watch them race, and race the race multiple times, so you can see how the drivers race. There's a great game called Live for Speed. I've mentioned it many times, but I think it's underplayed. It's quite an old game. It's 20 plus years old, and I've had it on a computer for all those 20 years. and I often set up a 20 lap race on one of the circuits, set the AI drivers up in order 1 to 20, get them to use my setups, various setups, and get them to drive the cars, and I'll restart the race and it will start them in the same grid order that they finish. So you'll get to see which driver gets to the front and win, and see whether he encounters difficulty in the next race. And that's what I love about running these multiple races here. We get to see these drivers, and here's Solis now in second place. It's almost a victory for him as we come in 3 minutes and 55 seconds on to lap 25. Solis just pulls over and lets us go. We unfortunately, we might get to lap 26, but we won't roll 27. Time's just not going to allow it. That spin probably cost us back then. We're on to the last 2 laps here. And I don't know whether we've lapped everybody once or twice. But running 2 13s, 2 10s, 2 15s consistently, like we have been doing, if you ignore the one with the spin, lap 20, this is a tremendously quick car. For a powerful car, we could have probably added weight and make it just taken a bit more power out, and just, you know, made it a bit more poised on the track, but I think it's been really quite drivable with a bit of traction control, especially in the wet when it was heavily wet. We've only got 2 more of these cars to go. And they will be raced at some point over the weekend. We've got a lot of work to do with videoing and assembling of a rig. We'll see how it goes. So coming around 1 minute, just under 2 minutes remaining, and we're going to enter the final lap, which will put this car on 26 laps, which I thought the Jaguar was decent to hit 25, but this is going to definitely hit 26, and there it is. And we're going to sprint this last lap. And I've got a funny feeling we've lapped everybody twice. I don't know if we're going to catch anybody on this final lap. Solis has gone to the pits and probably thrown away his opportunity. He only had 1% of fuel. Oh, that is such a heartbreaker. Fraga's going to come through and take that as Hizal goes to the pits as well on 0 fuel. Oh, such a shame. Lopez has gone to the pits. They've just outstretched themselves. This extra lap has really caused them trouble. If that was the end of the race, they would have just crossed the line, timed almost perfectly. Cookabun's come in. Oh, there's 4 of them all having to be, admittedly, probably Cookabun could have gone on, but Solis has gone out 14% fuel. He's going to try and get himself a podium. There he is. He's out in 3rd. That's not too bad a result. At least he'll get on the steps with champagne. Now there's a thing. Would I be entertaining a bottle of the old bubbly if the team I was with were gonna win, or come 2nd or 3rd? We'd have to have something like that, wouldn't we? A bottle of the old Perry or Pompillon or whatever, Ramadan or whatever, Drambuie or whatever it is that we're going to drink at the end. Lemonade, no. Guinness, maybe. The timer has now finished, so anybody crossing the line, I noticed Rubelard's gone to the pits. Ordonez has come through. Got a funny feeling Ordonez will pick up the flag here – as we just catch up to Mendoza. Will he? No, he's carried on. He's going to take the flag as he crosses the line now. Fastest lap of the race as ours, a 2:08.762. Earlier in the day, 26 laps done in the R92. What a car. What a tremendously quick beast. As I say, this is probably one of the fastest cars in the game in a traditional basis rather than going to VGT or Tomahawk. This is a stupendous car at 800 pp and it's one to be tried. And there we have it. So Widdowmaker finished in an hour and 38, 26 laps. That's an absolutely stunning event. Mr. Fraga finished second with Mr. Solis third, 2 laps down. The rest of the field 3 laps down from Mr. Wilk at 12th, down to Mr. Portilla, who was lapped 4 times. Fastest lap of the race, as just said, on lap 5, a 2:08.762 is ours. And with that, 1.5 million to the bank account should take us over the 10. And forget, we were 0 credits not 4 days ago, and a 4-star ticket. And there she is. She's an absolute beaut. And with that, folks, I apologise for rattling on about the event, but we need to advertise it. It's a great car. It's one you need in your library. As soon as it comes in the Legends shop, you need to buy it. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care. Goodbye for now.